Auctions are everywhere. People use auctions to buy and sell different items on popular internet auction sites. Electricity markets are organized as auctions. Financial assets, CO2 emission allowances, and radio spectrum are sold at auctions. But different auctions have different objectives. Some sellers may want to maximize revenue. Other sellers use auctions as a tool to achieve other objectives. For example, to increase bank liquidity, to reduce emission, or to maximize some kind of public value. The auction theory provided by Paul Milgrom and Robert Wilson is key for understanding how these objectives can be reached. In the 1960s, Robert Wilson started to investigate auctions with a common value. That is, a value which is unknown beforehand, but in the end is the same to all bidders. Consider an auction for fishing rights, where different bidders compete for fishing quotas. The value of the fishing quota is not only determined by the volume, but also by the price for fish. But this price is unknown at the time when the bidders place their bids. So they must estimate the common value of the auction, and the most optimistic bidder may therefore overestimate the value and overpay for the object. This is something known as the winner's curse. Robert Wilson's research helps to explain how rational bidders in common value auctions should place their bid to, on the one hand, maximize their own expected value of the auction while avoiding being struck by the winner's curse. Look at this painting. It's a beautiful painting, but it's also a bit scary, right? I'm sure that if you would buy this painting, you would think about the future resale value, that is the common value of the auction. But I'm also sure that before you resale it, you will put it on your wall and you would admire it every day. That is your private value of the auction. In fact, most auctions have both private value and common value components, including all examples I have given you here today. In the beginning of the 1980s, Paul Milgrom started to analyze auctions with common and private values. His research can help us, for example, to rank all standard auction formats in terms of their expected revenue. But it can also explain things that we observe in practice. For example, that sellers often share their private information with the bidders, like test drilling results and inspection protocols. The auction theory developed by Robert Wilson and Paul Milgrom has been instrumental when designing new and complex auction formats. The auction designs by Milgrom and Wilson have been implemented all over the world to sell, for example, radio spectrum, fishing quotas, airport landing slots, electricity, and emission allowances.